Evening, Angus. Welcome to our listeners for BQB episode 10.
Man, double figures. Who would have thought?
Um, well, not our wives, that's for sure.
I don't think Anna cares.
No,
She mightn't even know.
no, no. But it's middle-aged guys doing a podcast. Like, yeah, it's never been done before, so we're breaking new ground.
Yeah. Middle-aged white guy doing a podcast.
Yep. And what are you drinking this evening?
I've got a Future Magic Imperial Navy Stout.
Ooh,
It's a bit cold, so something a bit warming. It's a bourbon barrel-aged Imperial Stout. I think from memory it was like 11% or something
wow,
stupid.
beautiful. I've got to catch up with Sean. I might see if I can grab one of those as well. Sounds lovely.
Yeah, oh, it's a big can, so don't be shocked at the price.
Yeah. Oh well, you
Like
got to pay for it. Oh,
440 ml
I've just
can, and
I've just cracked the Hiker Evergreen Terpene IPA.
oh yeah, cool.
It's only 6.5%, but I'm sitting 30 centimeters away from when I just cracked that, and holy crap, it feels like
Stinky.
it smells like I've been punching cones. That is amazing. Like terpenes are really cool. I missed out on the first batch of the Evergreen, but oh, the smell of that is just amazing.
Man, you're making me jealous. I haven't been to hiker in ages. I'll have to go in.
Yeah, I was actually just going past East Brisbane today. I took the bike out for a ride while it was sunny and I had a day off. And
Nice.
yeah, I popped in and Phil and Adzi were there, and
Of course,
Jake,
Adzi was there.
yeah, Jake's got all of his barrels there, and they're trying to get that shipping container kitchen up and going. But wow, that's amazing. Really nice IPA base, um, but it's just the aroma is just phenomenal from the cannabis terpene. It just um, yeah, yeah, wow. No wonder why that sold out so quick on their first batch. That was really cool. How's the um how's the stout?
Big mate, 11.6% it is. Infused with oak chips and a delicious spiced rum from Bovay Distillery. It's really nice. Very sneaky for 11.5%. Like you can taste the alcohol in it, but I wouldn't have thought it was 11.5%.
Yeah,
Yeah, lots of bourbon, vanilla,
yeah,
chocolate, yeah, all the good stuff.
a lot of breweries that don't have the time, space, or facilities to do barrel aging. They use the infused chips or even staves. I know, like even Brick Lane were putting staves of the different woods in different tanks for the different products, which
Yeah.
still infuses the flavor. It's really cool.
I mean, you probably get more surface area contact with using staves or chips
Yeah,
versus a barrel where you're really only getting the barrel surface contact.
yeah. There's not the breathing aspect, but in saying that, it's probably a quicker turnaround, and you're still getting good flavor out of it. So yeah, that sounds really cool. This one, yeah, like I said, huge on the nose, little bit of flow into the body on a really decent IPA base. Um, yeah, it's amazing. Like I had to look into terpenes a bit because a lot of breweries are using them now, and they're a naturally occurring chemical compound in plants, and I apparently in some animals too, which I found really bizarre. But they
Nice.
give aromas, flavors, sometimes even colors, um, mainly to vegetation. And all plants contain terpenes, but some are really strong in, especially in herbs. So the biggest example they were giving were like sage and thyme, and of
Yeah.
course cannabis. But um, they also sometimes use them in pesticides and insecticides and things as well. Um, they're different to cannabinoids, so there's no THC in this.
Boo.
We can't have that in Australia. But in America, they sometimes blend THC cannabinoids with the terpenes for their THC beers, but the THC beers can't have alcohol. They can't have both.
Okay.
Um, I think if we ever legalize marijuana or cannabis in Australia, I think we'll see a lot of breweries ready to go with cannabis beers. Um, but I don't know about if we'll have the same restrictions when that happens, whether it'll be either THC or ABV. You can't have both, but
Yeah.
uh,
So
really cool
does
stuff.
that mean does that would they be dosing with the like THC extract, or are they like whirlpooling leaves or buds? Like how do they get that transfer?
For the bigger production ones, as far as I know, they use a liquid product. They extract it
Yeah.
like a hop product because cannabis and hops are related. They use the cannabinoid oil in a lot of products, which I think's odd because being such an oil product, you think it would break down the head a lot and things like that. But I haven't. I've brewed with hemp oil, which was a water-based hemp oil, but it still broke down a lot of the compounds. But I haven't brewed with a THC-based hemp product, of course, because we're not allowed to.
Like
Um,
you'll admit on public?
no, yeah, but yeah. Look, I think there's lots of people who'd be ready to go if that law was changed. But in the meantime, um, using terpenes, and it's not just cannabis terpenes. They can use it for lots of different hop terpene products, and they're even doing malt extracts like cinema. Sorry, um, and then I think we're going to see some funky yeast work. I think there's a lot of experimentation happening at the moment, which sort of had died off for the last couple of years, and I think now that a lot of these products are more available in Australia, I think we're seeing brewers who are able to are having a little bit more fun playing with some of this stuff. But it pays
Yeah,
off
it'd be
too.
interesting. It'd be interesting to see if any of the bigger breweries are interested in producing like terpene high beers or because I imagine like craft breweries and smaller breweries will like they're always experimenting, doing weird and wonderful things, so that kind of fits in their wheelhouse. But some of the larger breweries are dependent on more mainstream drinkers, whether they would be bringing out any kind of any
We've,
kind of terpene or really terpene high beers or
I think we've seen an influx of craft lager because of the retail costings and people's expenditure and disposable income. So
as he
perhaps,
drinks an 11.6% stout.
yeah, yeah. And I've got a nice big fat 6.5 IPA, but um, yeah, no, that's good for a school night. 11.6. That's pretty good.
Well, I got a staff day tomorrow, so not not having to do work tomorrow.
It's not real work. Yeah.
No, it's yeah.
Um, and we got some really good news today, perhaps even released last night, about Carwyn Cellars is back in business with the original owners, Ben and Nicole, buying it back from Mountain Culture, who bought the Fox Friday business. Um, I think this is a really good result for them and for Carwyn. Um, we saw the post that Nicole was especially really unhappy with how it all went down so fast after they spent so much blood, sweat, and tears into building that. And like I said, even when I was down in Melbourne a few weeks ago, I went and visited because I didn't think they'd survive. So um, it's really cool. I hope they can rebuild the trust with their suppliers and clientele, and be a successful business again.
Yeah. Like I think those two would carry a lot of almost instant goodwill where they're back in charge. So, all the people that used to go there drinking when they are in charge, they'll be back there. They're already there last night. They'll be there this weekend. So I think they'll have a lot of instant goodwill because they didn't they didn't screw Carwyn Cellars up. They were in charge, weren't involved. So I think there's a lot of instant goodwill there being back in the hands of the people who everyone loved running Carwyn. So
Yeah, I hope they get those suppliers that may have, exited as well. I hope some of those suppliers come back on if they haven't been burnt too bad from the previous owners. So really cool. It's a good news story. And to be honest, I don't know the details, but I think credit has to be given to Mountain Culture for allowing that and for realizing the bigger picture, perhaps. Um, maybe there's a back end deal there that we see more Mountain Culture stuff at Carwyn. That's fine, but I think I think that's a smart move. And like I said, when it was announced, I thought, maybe Mountain Culture have spread themselves too thin. Um, but good on them for maybe realizing that and coming to a business agreement for that to go back to the original owners. And um, yeah, it sounds like a really good story for everyone now.
yeah, I mean, I have to guess that it's hard running a retail store, and it makes better financial sense to run your brewery and um, run a bar off that, where it's more profitable than running a retail venue. And if that's not your core business, then do you really want to do that? Do you-
Yeah, well, Carwyn's unique. It's retail shop at the front, bar at the back, um, and they're in a partnership with Wildflower for the village bottle shop, and then they've got the Redfern site that they've got as well, and then they got Emu Plains, and they've got Katoomba. So like, there's a lot going on, and they're doing collaborations every week. And actually, I've got a garage project, mountain culture collaboration in the fridge, which I'm keen to try. So yeah, really, really interesting. Watch this space. I wish nothing but the best for mountain culture and for the Carwyn team, and hope this turns out well for everyone.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of positivity about it. I got a couple articles I read today. Like everyone was almost ecstatic that it was back in Ben and Nicole's hands, and so I think it'll be a positive story and that'll go well.
Yeah, sweet, very cool. You had the ever expanding Felons on your ticket.
Yeah, so they announced today that they're going to start a seafood restaurant in their Manly Wharf precinct in Sydney, which seems really strange to me that you wouldn't kick off with a seafood restaurant right on the waters of Manly on the harbour. Anyway, so they're starting a seafood restaurant, and I was reading that they've also got plans to start a microbrewery there and a bar as well. So sounding like Felons 2.0.
Yeah,
Same thing as Brisbane, that full precinct where you run restaurants and the restaurants serve your own beers and
they
um,
they must, in saying it the nicest way, they must be absolutely printing money. The times I go there and they've got 100 staff on, there's just people everywhere. Great, great, fantastic venues, multiple venues. Um, they recently even got the Story Bridge climb as well, so you can do a touristy, go and do the bridge climb, go down and have lunch. Like, um, they're ever expanding. Focus that 5-star hotel, um, going part payment to get the ferry terminal in Brisbane there. I know production's been really busy because they've been making beer to send to Sydney. So I don't know how strong their business case is, but it seems like an absolute success story.
Yeah.
So there's some great people who work there that I know. Um, yeah, there's I know the Brisbane beer barons always give them a bit of shit about their beer, but um, their beer has been tailored for their consumers, and
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
and uh, and then even then, there's some absolute cracking beer. Their barrel age program is just some of that stuff's amazing. So I haven't got a bad word to say about Felons. Really, um, them and the whole Howard Smith Wharves precinct. I'd love to visit what they're doing in Sydney and see if it's got the same feel. Because if it's got the same feel as it does in Brisbane, um, they'll be successful.
And they'll print money. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like Felons. I've never been there, and it has not been pumping.
yeah,
Like, two or three deep at the bar, and the staff are just working their asses off.
yeah.
It's always been packed there.
Great food, getting pumped out, beautiful views. Sit on your beanbag, watch something on the big screen, order food and drinks on your phone attached to your beanbag. The barrel hall. Then they've got all the little function rooms, and I think they just recently the finish of a Brisbane marathon was there, and they gave everyone who finished the marathon got a can of crispy boy or something like that. Like just you know, yeah, yeah, like I said, I don't have a bad word to say about Felons. I think they're doing a great job, and they've got some really really cool people there. Yeah. What did I have? Bent Spoke turning 11. Very cool. Great beers from Canberra. I just picked out three of my favorites. I love the Dick Tracy, their first beer, the American Dark, Sprocket, and Crankshaft IPAs are just absolutely fantastic. Crankshaft is probably more popular than Sprocket, but I think Sprocket's an absolute cracker of an IPA.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I like both of those.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think when I was in Canberra, I think they were closed for renovations, I missed going to Ben Spoke.
yeah.
But Anna and I went to a brewery out near the airport. I think it was called Zierholz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Capital's near the airport too. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this was quite a while ago, so
Yeah.
probably before Capital.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. Yeah, Zierholz, or like a really German sounding name. Their beers are pretty good.
Yeah.
They've done 1 liter Steins, which I remember.
With the lid on top or just the straight 1 liter
No,
stock?
that's the big glass Steins. Not
Yeah.
weren't that fancy.
Yeah. Yeah. They get in the way. The lid for the foam. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever drunk a beer out of one of those things. Ones with the lid.
Oh, we've got a couple here. Got a few in Germany, but it's good for the beer. It's like why you see a lot of people with the Czech beers with the bigger heads now. They A lot of people don't realize it actually, you know, keeps the beer carbonated and keeps it, enveloped, and you drink it through the foam. Maybe not so the Czech Milkos. The Milkos are, that much
Yeah,
foam
they're really
and a little bit of beer.
bit
Um,
over the top.
yeah, but that's part of the experience having those side pour Luca taps and things like that. It'd be worth trying if you get a chance to drink one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my mates has got one of those Luca taps, so I'll have to wait till I get something on tap and go
Yeah,
over and be fancy.
yeah, a nice Czech pills, and we'll get the nice big Milkos going. I also saw today that Slipstream released their Wild Green. It's their latest barrel release, 2 years in the making. Gets released on Saturday. I was lucky enough to try it at the Abers. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was even better than the Wild Gold, which was amazing too. Both of them won
Yeah.
gold medals. Um, it's a dry hop, this one, with higher acidity and ABV. It's got excellent balance. Saccharomyces, Brettanomyces, Lactobacillus, and Pediococcus, and all of that just builds to a brilliant wild sour cracker of a tawley, and they're really reasonably priced. They're around that $20-$30 for a tall beer of these. Two years in the making. Wild beers, and it just shows another level of Gavin and Slipstream teams' ability to just make cracking beers. If you like wild stuff, them and Felons are doing some great wild stuff at the moment.
Yeah, I've got a couple of wild beers from Fick, which I've got
Yep.
in my box in the shed, which I'll crack out at some point. But they're sort of the beers that you want to share with someone. Like, yeah, they're $30, but like you'll sit
It's
down
a
and crack a beer with someone else and sit there for 15 minutes
it's a table beer.
talking crap.
It's a table beer. You pop it on the table, everyone shares. I've had that a few times with Wildflower. Still, my absolute favorite Wildflower beer is the Hive. I've said it a few times, that the honey wild beer. And there's nothing like, being at a venue, bringing those out, 6 glasses, and everyone sipping an absolute cracker of a wild beer.
Yeah.
What else did you have on your ticket?
The other one I had was Sanctus Brewing throwing hand grenades. So they've released an Independence Day XPA.
Yeah,
So the labeling and the marketing behind the beer is taking a shot at the current Australian beer market.
yeah,
So tap contracts and fake craft beer brands and price gouging by the two big boys in town. And something worth pointing out is that so Kirin and Asahi own 85% of all Australian beer brands. So two companies, not even Australian companies, own 85% of all Australian beer brands, including what you'd consider Australian beer, so 4X and VB and all those boys.
yeah.
They're not Australian beers anymore.
No.
So yeah, they're having a shot at them. So um, yeah, they employ Australian people and use Australian services, but any extra value in the brand is taken offshore. And these companies that buy out the beer brands to extract as much value as possible. So that's where you see kind of craft beer company breweries bought out, and then the recipes are dialed down, and the hops they change hops to. It's all kind of all about extracting as much value as possible. So there's one brewery having a crack, and they were saying that they're going to make it a periodical effort. Didn't say annual, but more, I think, kind of maybe like every quarter or something, doing a collab beer with someone and kind of promoting the problems that small craft breweries are facing with tap contracts and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, the IBA had what was a round table or a meeting today. They've sent out some surveys for Queensland producers, but I haven't heard anything about it yet. So be keen to see how many people participated in that. But Sanctus is it Yamba or Grafton, Coffs Harbour? It's somewhere down there, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I didn't write it down. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's
Somewhere Central Coast or somewhere.
yeah. Um, yeah, good on them for having a go and calling it out. I know Black Flag have yeah, we can edit that. No, we won't. They've been doing some with they've been doing some great sort of little videos about independence and things like that. So yeah, I know the IBA has really been focused on tax reform and excise reform, although a lot of their members um, don't actually fall into the excise bracket. So It'd be really cool to see how many of the IBA members are actually in that under 350k limit for the tax. So yeah, look, I'm worried about the IBA. I love it, and I really want it to do well, but I just don't know if it's sustainable without government support like Wine Australia or something like that. And that gets so much money because of the importing of Australian wine, which you can't really do with beer. So um, yeah, and Coopers won't join the IBA. They're not allowed to with the Brewers Association rules. So I am a bit worried about the IBA.
Hmm. Oh, well, keep fighting the good fight.
Oh, I think there's a lot of people who want to, but I just don't know how long it'll last in the way it was. And you were saying that Corona was recognised
Yeah, my
as the
last
most
one.
valuable beer brand in the world.
Yeah, so there's some annual marketing survey that was just released. I can't remember the name. But
Hmm.
anyway, they named Corona as the most valuable beer brand in the world and the second most valuable alcohol brand in the world. So just shows you the reach and the market penetration that Corona has. They're second most valuable alcohol firm in the entire world.
Do you know what the first most alcohol was? Johnny Walker.
Oh, no, it was some weird brand I hadn't heard of, Kaluka or something. Probably got it in my browser still.
Wow. Maybe something not sold here, so we don't know. But yeah, look, all of the white box Corona that you see in Australia is brewed in China. The brown box Corona's still brewed in Mexico. If you ever get the opportunity to watch the Mega Factories show about the new Corona brewery when it first cracked 1 million bottles of beer a day, um, it's pretty impressive. Um, do I think much of the beer? Nah. But does it meet a lot of uh, climate and probably not in Australia, but yeah, it is what it is. Everyone knows what a Corona is. They probably need to pay Vin Diesel a bit of money. You can have any beer you want.
Yeah.
I'm sure they got a good sponsorship out of that, but yeah, Crown, of
Yeah.
course.
The other funny thing that I found out about Corona was so it ranks as the number one beer of choice in Western Australia. So Bad Luck Feral and Little Creatures, Gauge Roads. Corona is the number one choice of beer drinkers in Western Australia.
Hmm. Wonder if that's why. Maybe that's the FIFO workers perhaps love the Corona. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
The other states have the obvious winners. You know, Forex in Queensland, Tooheys in New South Wales,
BB in Victoria, or
BB in
no, it's
Victoria,
Carlton Dry in Victoria, I think now. But yeah, I think Carlton
and
Dry. Yeah.
Coopers in South Australia. So the obvious winners there. But yeah, it's interesting that Corona is currently the number one choice in WA.
I think a lot of people went away from Emu and Swan when it was no longer brewed there. I think that was a big. I think that was a big hit to the WA. Both. I think they're both line products, and yeah, when they stopped getting brewed in WA, I think that turned a lot of people off them. And it actually says it on the back of the can or the bottle, they're not brewed in Western Australia, which I thought was
Yeah.
yeah, um, yeah, no, interesting. Corona. Did you find out what the number one alcohol brand in the world was?
I was trying to find the article. So, okay, there's the article there.
Put you on the spot now, haven't I? Technology. What a prick I am. Sorry about that.
What? Good Lord. Uh, so it's asked me to enter in.
Oh, you got to log in and
Well, I didn't. The article I was reading, I didn't have to.
uh, it's all right.
Uh, All right, so here's the article.
Probably a Diageo product.
One Corona. Yeah, it's not the article that I read though.
That's all right. I'm sure our avid listeners will put it in the chat somehow and tell us how useless we are at researching, and Luke shouldn't go off on tangents when he's not supposed to. You think it would
It's not
be
telling me.
maybe Smirnoff or Johnny Walker or something like that?
No, it was something that I'd never heard of. It started with a K. Or
Hmm, interesting. Hmm. Yeah, Corona
uh,
being number one in WA is quite a surprise because they've got fantastic breweries, and from what I got when I was over there, was it last year? Um, really good patronage. People are proud of WA products, so I'm surprised that Corona, that's yeah probably shipped from China to from there. Yeah,
okay,
probably.
so it's a Chinese spirits brand.
Ah, okay,
I'm gonna butcher this.
nice.
Kweichow Moutai.
Mutai. So that's that spirit. It's a Chinese
Yeah, it's
spirit. Um,
Chinese Baijiu spirits brand.
um, yeah, quite expensive. But of course, China being the biggest population, I guess that's why it's so popular. The
Yeah,
numbers.
maybe.
Um,
Moutai was the leading alcohol brand by far with a brand value of $85 billion.
well, I think they land here at about $200 or $300 a bottle.
Choice.
I don't know what it's fermented from. I know Sunnybank sells a lot of it. um, yeah, interesting. So that's probably in valuation, and maybe with Corona being brewed in China now, maybe it's more popular there too. So that just makes the numbers stack up worldwide.
Yeah.
I know. I was talking to an Indian customer of mine, and he was saying that Kingfisher is so big in India, but they can't advertise it for their laws there. So you have Virat Kohli and all these fantastic cricket players. They're
Yeah.
advertising Kingfisher water. The water that goes into the beer is the best
Yeah.
water it is, and because they've got rules against alcohol advertising in certain
Advertising.
areas and stuff. So
Yeah.
only the best water goes into Kingfisher beers. Now you know. All right, mate. Great chat. Everyone who's listening, if you've put up with us so far, make sure to join the Basement Quality Banter group on Facebook. I think we've got 116 members now. So, or you can watch our ugly mugs on YouTube, and we're on Spotify, and we're on Apple Podcasts. So, thank you for everyone for listening. If there's anything you want us to talk about, actually do some proper research. Anything controversial, Angus will look after that. And yeah, look, we'll listen and hear out for us next week. Hey, cheers,
All
Angus.
right. Thanks, Luke.
See you, mate.
Bye, everyone.